Hello and welcome to the FatBoss Guide to Gara'jal Spiritbinder 10-man heroic in the Mogu'Shan vaults.
Yes, this boss is a little bit different from normal. It's just more annoying. They just put more things in to be annoying.
Yeah,
but,
it's a little bit more frustrating.
Yeah, but you'll be able to get through it. It's a lovely fight still. If you haven't seen the normal mode guide to this boss, then please do click up on the screen now, because we're not going to be covering all the normal mode mechanics for this fight, because it's really not necessarily. A lot of them are exactly the same.
To get straight into it, you want to bring 2 tanks, 3 healers, and 5 DPS. And the DPS you want to bring, if you can bring dot classes, then yeah, that helps a shit ton. If you can bring 2, then that's great. 3 would make it absolutely perfect. Now, the challenging part of this encounter is the enrage timer. The enrage timer is only 6 minutes, so it's a very, very short fight. And the DPS requirement is pretty high, especially if you're a little bit undergeared. You will have a few issues with this encounter. Now, on the pull, you want to use Bloodlust, because obviously, that's when all your cooldowns are up and all your trinkets are procced, and you want to try and just nuke the boss as hard as you possibly can. Now, the main changes on this fight is that when you actually do go into the spirit realm using the totems, you can't go back in once you've left. You get a debuff that lasts for 30 seconds that prevents you from going back in there, and that's why you want to sort of develop some sort of rotation of players. Now, dotters are the best, because when they're inside there, you can literally just dot all the mobs up, and then come straight back out. And usually, boomkins, if you've got really good gear, you'll be able to kill them on your own. If not, then if you do have a rotation, the next people who go in will finish them all off.
So the voodoo dolls has changed on this fight. Instead of it only doing 70% as it does on normal, like the shared damage, it now does 100%, so you are sharing all the damage that you take. This means that your tanks have to really, really work on making it so they take the least amount of damage possible, because otherwise people are going to die. People are going to die.
And on top of this, when a tank is banished, instead of there being only 1 Sever of Souls, there is 3 Sever of Souls, and the tank has to kill all 3 of them. However, the tank... there's one particular Sever of Soul that only the tank can see. The other 2 can be seen by the raid. So when a tank does get banished, the people who also go inside the portal using a totem, you'll ideally want to try and align the totem so you do go in at the same time, or while the tank is inside there. They need to help kill the other 2 Sever of Souls. The DPS need to go in there and help kill them. So like we said previously, the biggest problem on this encounter is the enrage timer. And although if you do go inside the totems and you do get a buff when you get healed inside there, the actual damage increase buff that you get will not actually be a higher amount of damage on the boss than you not going in the totem at all.
Yeah, exactly.
So the amount of time that you spend DPSing the boss is better than actually going inside the totem and killing the ads inside. And that's where dotters are so strong, because you want as many people on the boss as much as possible. You want to spend as least time inside as possible. So when you do go in there, dotters are the best, because they can clear the place very, very quickly and effectively. Now, if your dotters are doing really, really well inside, occasionally you will have a totem spawn, and there'll be very, very little ads inside there. If that is the case, and your healers are struggling with the mana because you need to heal a shit ton, you need to almost be spam healing, then there's nothing preventing that healer from standing underneath the totem on their own, and the DPS killing the totem, and then the healer can go in there on their own, get the buff, and then come straight back out and then start carrying the healing while the other healers, chill out a bit. So you might want to think about doing that if you are ahead on the ads.
Just make sure that if you are going to do that, that healer won't need to go in for the next couple of totems, because of course they're going to have that debuff on them that makes it so they will die if they try and get in a totem.
It's very important that the tanks track exactly what healers have gone inside and which healers are currently healing you, because when a healer does go inside, if it's one of the stronger healers, you need to make sure that you're watching your cooldowns, because the amount of damage that the raid are taking from any ads that are up is very high, and obviously if you're linked with voodoo doll damage, then yeah, it can become quite sketchy, and people can get globaled. If the tank gets hit and the ads hit the tank or any other voodoo doll users at the same time, someone can get globaled. That's why it's very, very important that the tanks do watch what cooldowns they're using and what time they're using them. Now, around the 25% mark, just before the enrage, you want to make sure that the last totem you go in, that you clear as many ads as possible, and this is very, very important. But you also want to make sure that when you go into the last phase, that you have all your defensive cooldowns up, because in the frenzy, the boss will gain 50% more melee haste and 25% more additional damage, as well as you no longer having the ability to go into the spirit realm unless there's already totems up. So the people go in at 25%-ish, make sure you get your dotters in there, dot as much as you possibly can, and then get out, and then you want to push the boss over into the next phase. And then the very last phase, it's all about just healing as much as you possibly can, and, you know, killing the boss as fast as you possibly can, using cooldown rotations, and things like disc brace and stuff like that are amazing here, because the absorb on the tank, the damage that is absorbed doesn't actually go on to the other people as well. It's only actual damage that takes your health down that will go onto the voodoo doll targets. Another thing you can do, if you use Blessing of Protection on the tank won't actually lose threat, because the voodoo doll is a fixate, which means that the tank won't lose threat and he won't take any damage. So you can actually, that's like, it gives you an 8-second period roughly of where no one's taking any damage from the voodoo doll, well, from the physical damage from the boss, which can be very, very helpful.
So really, this fight hasn't really changed too much. They've just added that debuff. The voodoo doll does a bit more damage in this 3 Sever of Souls, but the main thing is this enrage timer. You're going to be having a lot of 1% wipes where you like the boss kills you on 1%. It's ridiculous. It's really, really stupid, but just keep going with it. Try and get a bit more gear if you're failing, or just get some better DPS in, and you shouldn't have too much issues with this fight. So thank you for watching, guys. If this guide did help you out, then please do give us a thumbs up. It helps us out rather significantly. And comment, rate and subscribe.
And if you'd like to see more 10-man heroic guides by FatBoss, please do click up on the annotations you see on your screen now, and it'll take you straight to that video.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.